Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey and Literature. I'm your host, Captain Mike, and today we're day drinking some scotch. And I think today's been a perfect day to day drink some smoky scotch. It's been kind of overcast, gloomy. I've just sat inside, been reading some Tolstoy and a little bit of F. Scott Fitzgerald, just not doing a whole lot. It's a day off today, back at it tomorrow, and I've been drinking these for the past couple of days. I thought, hey, I'm gonna day drink a little bit here, share with you my thoughts of these two Ardbeg peated scotches. I don't play in the peated scotch realm a whole lot. It's just not something I've been doing a lot of. I just counted last night 14 scotches at my house. Man, that smell is just it's so overwhelming. If you ever decide to do an infinity bottle, you don't do scotch in an infinity bottle unless it's only scotch. And then I think you're only gonna have peated scotch if you're gonna put that into an infinity bottle. It's so overwhelming, the nose and the scent. So Ardbeg, the Uigeadail I've had for a while. I am just past the halfway mark on this bottle. This is the Ardbeg Beastie I picked up just a couple of weeks ago, and I gave it a fresh crack last night, and I just wanted to share with you my thoughts on these two whiskeys. So let's talk about how they're similar and then how they're different. Do I have a preference, and whether I think you should buy them. First of all, they're both Ardbeg Islay scotches. They're both, I would say, heavily peated. Let's see, I think the bottle is exactly the same, heavily tinted green glass. It's very interesting and different. The bottle itself is fairly uninteresting, just that tint. They're very similar except the red band here on the Beastie. And other than that, they're very, very similar. Okay, differences. Ardbeg Uigeadail. Let's see, time for the glasses to come on. I had this for a while and I hadn't opened it, and then my son texted me one night. He was at his girlfriend's father's house and he said, hey, I just tried this cool whiskey. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll open up the one I have and give it a go. Uigeadail, the ultimate Islay Scotch malt whiskey. They're both non-chill filtered, and they are both pretty available. I got them both at Total Wine & More. I think if you walk into any decent or larger whiskey store, liquor store, they're gonna have these on the shelves. This is 54.2 ABV. And this is 47.4 ABV for the Beastie. This is non-age stated. I don't even get any hint at all online of what the possible age in it is for it. It just says non-age stated. This is 5 years old. I believe this is a newcomer to the market. Don't quote me on that exactly. Didn't do a whole lot of research on this. Just pop these open and give them a go. How about you? Have you had these Ardbeg? So I drank coffee for the first time in August of 2018, 46 years old. And I was like, man, why do people drink this stuff? It is so not good. And it was just such an unfamiliar, foreign taste to me. I just really didn't like it or appreciate it. Now I drink coffee every day. Coffee is life. And I think that these Islay scotches are the same way. I'm trying to enjoy them, and I'm gaining a better appreciation for them the more and more I drink of them. Ardbeg Uigeadail. I feel like it's a lot darker than the Beastie. Just maybe more golden looking. And I've noticed on both of these, holding them up to the light, I see sediment. We'll stop bouncing around. I can see little floaties and sediments in both of these whiskeys. I feel like you can tell from just giving a nice swirl and looking at those legs, it just looks like a viscous whiskey. On the nose, the Uigeadail to me is campfire. We lived in Phoenix for 16 years, in Vegas for 5 years, and we had mesquite trees and we'd often go camping with the scouts and the church groups and just as friends. And this is reminiscent to me of those campfires on the nose. And that's why I was thinking today would be a great day to day drink some scotch. It's just nice, heavy campfire and smoke. And again, not playing in this realm very often, to me, I get all of that smoke, and it's difficult for me to get underneath and what is beyond the smoke in these peated scotches. There is some light fruitiness underneath there, and other than that, it's campfire and light fruitiness. That's the nose for me on the Ardbeg Uigeadail. Cheers. Wow. And that is my reaction every time I drink the Ardbeg Uigeadail. Just an overwhelming smoky, peaty note. And it's not the same smoke as I get on the nose, which is a campfire smoke. On the palate, it just transitions to a peaty note. That kind of campfire is just kind of subdued and gone, and it doesn't make itself known. It's just peat and smoke. That was my first sip of whiskey today. But it doesn't matter if I've had a couple or not. Every time I drink the Ardbeg Uigeadail, that first sip of the Uigeadail, it's always that whoa, just overwhelming. Yeah, just peat, smoke, and some sweetness. Maybe like a nice honey sweetness, perhaps underneath and underlying all of that peat and smoke on the palate. And the finish, it's very viscous. It's a nice mouthfeel. I think it's a pretty good whiskey. It does linger for a long time. And one thing I've noticed as I drink the Uigeadail later, and I'm talking a lot later, I mean 10, 15, 20 minutes after I'm done drinking, I taste some more sweetness through my mouth, and I feel like it's a raisiny sweetness. This is not a note that I get while I'm nosing or drinking the whiskey. It's something that lingers on, and perhaps when that smoke clears out a little bit, underneath I get that raisiny note. So, and maybe that sweetness is more raisiny on the palate than honey, and maybe that's what that is, and I'm just interpreting that as honey. But in that lingering aftertaste after a long while, I can still tell you've had Uigeadail quite a while later. And honestly, drinking water after drinking the Uigeadail doesn't really help. It's not cleansing the palate at all. It's not resetting anything. It's almost futile. Oh, I did pay $76.22 for this bottle at Total Wine & More, which is a weird number. It's probably $79.99 or something. And then there's some customer discount or something that I paid $76.22. I can't imagine that's actually the MSRP. And I paid $53.99 for this bottle at Total Wine & More. Like I said, it's a lot lighter than the Uigeadail. Also, just a little bit of sediment in there, just kind of swirling around in the glass. I think I said already, 47.4 ABV, non-chill, filtered, 5 years. The wee Beastie. And it says on the back, a monster of a dram, or in the front. Yeah. It's a completely different nose than the Uigeadail. It's not that campfire smoke, it's a peaty note. I get none of that overwhelming campfire smoke on the nose of the wee Beastie. It's nice, it is more subtle. And that's all I get. I just get peat on the nose. The same kind of look and legs and on this as I had on the Uigeadail. Cheers. here's where the palate matches the nose. You have that peat on the nose and you have that peat on the palate. It almost just overrides to me everything. You have some underlying smoke and some of that sweetness again in there. I'm gonna give it a, I'm gonna say some salinity, not like, it's not salty, but it just reminds me, and we live close to the beach, it just reminds me some of that in there. There's just a hint of that not salty salinity, I think is a good word for the wee beastie. And I was expecting it to be more aggressive, to get more of that whoa factor. I mean, they call it a monster of a dram, and it has these claw marks on it. It's called the wee beastie, and I'm not underwhelmed by it. I'm just, after the aggressiveness, I think, of the Uigeadail, I was kind of expecting the same thing from the wee beastie, and I'm not getting that at all. Peat, salinity, and a little bit of sweetness. So I'm just starting to play in the whole Scotch, certainly the peated realm. I was looking at the Octomore online this morning, thinking about picking up a bottle of that, but that's running $229 to $279 depending on which version of the Octomore you've got. I just picked up the Port Charlotte. I'm gonna give that a go here in the near future, and maybe I'll compare one of these whiskeys to the Port Charlotte. And I do have a couple peated Irish whiskeys as well. It's something I'm just barely getting into, and I do like it. I'm appreciating it. It's just a different realm of the whole whiskey world, a different facet of it, and I'm trying to play in that a little more while not just getting overwhelmed by bottles here that just don't get drank. So I think if you are looking to get into scotches, if you are hitting those peated and you haven't tried the Ardbeg Uigeadail, you've got to just give the Uigeadail, you got to have it on your shelf and give it a go just for that wow factor. And it's great to share with people who come over to your house and want to try your whiskey. It's just, I've had people over here who never tasted anything like that at all, and I certainly had it myself either the first time I had it, and it is an exciting ride. The wee beastie is less expensive. I think it's a little less aggressive and just as good, just a different profile than the Uigeadail. So I'm happy to have both these in here in my collection, and I think if you're a Scotch guy or you want something a little different from the norm, certainly, then these two would be a good way to go. I mean, what do you think? Have you tried the Uigeadail? Have you tried the wee beastie? What are your thoughts on it? And I'm about to give the Port Charlotte a go. Have you had these compared to the Octomore? Because the Octomore is supposed to be like one of the heaviest peated, and I can't believe it'd be more peated even than the Uigeadail. It just boggles my imagination. So anyway, my guys, if you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to see more of my content. I do both whiskey and book reviews. I'm reading 52 books in 52 weeks in 2023, and you can find those in my channel. For now, I hope you're reading something good and drinking something great. Turn the pages, my friends, and stay thirsty. Cheers.